Good evening. Thank you for joining When Black Authors Inc. We are having a conversation tonight with Black authors about Black excellence, their literary journeys, and also the importance of using their Black voices. Tonight you'll hear from four amazing authors that are here to discuss with you all. And so I'm going to pass it to them to introduce themselves. And so we'll start all the way to my furthest right. And so we'll say your name, we'll say your book or books, and where you're based.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. Appreciate you all tuning in. My name is KB Strada Jr. I'm right here from Houston, Texas. And the upcoming book that I have recently released will be Selfish. It is a book about self-care and the art of taking care of everything in between of yourself.
All right, good evening. I'm Yeladria Drummond. I am from Houston, Texas by way of Missouri City, Texas. And my book will be releasing on September 1st, and it is Through These Eyes, Surrendering the Ties of My Soul.
I am Jamie Keisha J.K. Bent, also Houston, Texas native by way of Missouri City. My book is What Goliath Will I Kill Today, based on slaying demonic principalities in your life.
I like that. My name is Antoine Valentino Blake. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. By way of Missouri City, Texas. I've been here since probably like 16 years. My book is Little Zilla's Big Weight. It's a series I got out.
Awesome. Well, we have some amazing authors here. I'm very excited to just be with all of you and to talk to you more about your literary journey, how you got to this place, and even for those of you all who are watching who are interested in writing or publishing or a book, getting some really good knowledge. And so my first question that I'm going to kick off to you all, what made you write, right? What is your inspiration for doing this? What was it? And so Jamie Keisha, we'll start with you.
Okay, what made me write this particular book is, for one, I understand the need. I mean, I feel like anybody who puts out any type of content, any type of books, whatever it may be, I feel like you're meeting the need of something. Me in particular, I'm gonna just be honest, I got tired of like attack after attack after attack, not learning how to be weaponized, not learning the proper tools, the proper utilization. So we all kind of know the story of David and Goliath, like he slayed a giant with a stone, but it was like, what is the giant in your life that's steady attacking you or taunting you, torturing you? And I just basically teach through the book, understanding the Goliath, the principalities, the powers just that are attacking you, and how to utilize your weapon and how to slay them back and just not be under subjection of your opposer.
Yeah.
So, and I understand that is needed in this hour. So that's what made me produce
Wonderful.
what I have.
That's awesome. Well, wonderful. David and Goliath.
Okay. Please understand.
Taking it all the way back to the Bible,
we
y'all.
slay it.
Yes.
We slay it.
Yes, that's right. So, Yeladria, we'll pass it to you. What made you write your book?
So, just like Jamie Keisha, I felt like it was necessary, honestly. So my book is about surrendering my soul from soul ties, and like not the normal soul ties people think of, sexual soul ties. I'm talking about just personal things in your life, whether it was a certain person, an entity, or even your own problems like self-doubt, things we deal with. But also, I knew that it was time, because once you're free for something, you're supposed to share that so that you can teach others, you know what I mean? And I wanted to just be able to touch somebody. So, I pinpointed it, it's raw, it's uncut, it's going to be an interesting read when it comes out, and, but also when you step into yourself, like you said, you are not held down by your, basically your oppressors or the people, your opponent. At this point, it's like, it's about you, and when you setting yourself free, that's all you can think about. So that's why I wrote Through These Eyes.
Set yourself free. Okay. Yes.
And,
especially our voices. I think
Right.
that's important, right? Is that we've always kind of hidden behind history, and now we're writing our own and charting our own path. And so
our turn.
it's your turn. That's right. That's right. Antoine, let's go to you.
Well, mine's a little bit different. I feel like writing has always been a passion of mine throughout my whole life. But given my first choice of career field, I really feel like I didn't have much time to kind of indulge in it as much as I would like. But now that I've chosen to change paths, like they said, I feel like it's pretty necessary. Life is pretty short, so once I get an idea in my head, it's like I'm gonna plan it out and I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna try to do anything I can to make sure I'm working on finding my purpose in life.
Purpose.
No, that's right. Come on,
Amen. Operate in your purpose. That's what he's saying, people.
That's good stuff. That's
Exactly.
good stuff.
KB, brother, where did you write your book?
So, Be Selfish actually came from an opportunity I had to go do a lecture at the Penn State University, and I did it on success in self-care. And I got such an outstanding applause for the self-care portion that I realized it was very detrimental for us to understand what it is, how to operate in it, and how we can live fully through it. And not just that, but the mental health portion on the side of it is very necessary for us as Black people as a whole. So I saw the need to say, okay, we have mental health writers, we have people talking about mental health, but we don't have enough of our color explaining and experiencing what
Yes.
mental health is and actually how to take care of ourselves through every orifice, not just having a pampering day and then turning your phone off and shut
Okay.
it down, but it starts mentally.
Help
And
us.
when you can actually get through the mental portion of taking care of yourself, it's a whole lot easier for you to be what you need to be and who you need to be for everybody else that you like to help.
Mhm.
So it's a service. If you service yourself, like you service your car, like you service your house, or if you service your job, your business, if you pour that into it, it's going to give you something in return back. So the best way to ever really be selfish about that is literally to take care of yourself mentally so that the body can follow physically, and then you can help other people throughout their purpose as well.
That's
Okay.
a word. That's a word.
Okay.
You pass the love offering.
Right.
Okay? That's a word, right? Just
Right.
pass it on down.
Okay.
Well, I think that's a wonderful thing, and I want to broaden your question, if I may, and because I think that's a thing where you talked about, there's not a lot of Black people who talk about those spaces, right? And one of the things I think that is across all of your stories is that there are not a lot of Black authors, right? Especially published authors, whether you went through a publisher, whether you self-published, etc., right? And so talk to me a little bit, Yaladria, about why has it been such low Black authors? But then how are you all continuing to mentor other people, right? So that we can grow this work and build more authors.
Well, for me, I remember thinking, who am I to write a book?
Yes.
Because I kept thinking
So
what
true.
does the author look like? We
So
think,
true.
oh, they went to school from journalism or something. You had to.
So
I'm like,
true.
look, I'm a poli-sci major, barely got through that, and I'm just trying to figure out, how I'm supposed to do this. So, but I realized that it's because also, as Black people, we don't push our kids towards the arts. Towards things like that. That's not a moneymaker. That's not a necessity. It's, make sure you're eating first, then do a hobby later. So, of course, this is looked at as a hobby when really this is something that if it's your passion, you should go for it. And that's how money comes when it's already, if you're passionate about something, money's going to come anyway, right? So, I feel like that because people don't know what it looks like, you don't really know that's why it's low. And then we just we don't pour into the ideas that I really have something to say. And it's worth talking about, So now I look at it and I'm hoping that other people will see, us as a collective and many more, that we look different, we talk different, we come from different spaces, and that means that authors look different, talk
Yes.
different, have different things to say. So if you want to write something, then do it. But also there's things like making sure that we have us up here reaching out, figuring out how can I help somebody. What they say, reach one, teach one.
Right.
So I want to do as much as I can, which is with the ink up, so I purposely did that because I'm more people need to know that there are Black people behind the Black ink, and that they can do it as well, and that we're going to make sure that we'll get that to them as free service. So if it's the money that's the problem, you don't have to worry about that.
Right.
If it's, you just don't have the access to somebody, we're going to bring it to you. So that's the whole thing. Is when you lead, you have to create more leaders. And when you want to be an author, create more authors. So that's just my thoughts, I can go on and on.
Yeah, and Antoine, I'm going to pass this to you to talk about the barriers, because one of the things I think that's important to what you're saying, sometimes it's finances, right? Sometimes it's access, right? And people's ability to actually access the opportunity to
Right.
publish a book. So can you talk a little bit, just not in your journey of publishing, but also about how you've been able to potentially mentor and help other folks do the same?
Just to piggyback off of what she said a little bit, going into the whole scenario, you kind of think not that it's an impossible thing to do, but it's kind of man, I don't even know where to start. I don't even this is crazy. But once I got connected with the right people, I kind of seen that the process wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. I don't want to say it was a super easy process, but it wasn't hard at all. What else you want to know?
How are you mentoring other folks, right? Or have you been able to mentor other folks or share your knowledge with other authors to be able to write and publish their own books?
Yeah, so I have a lot of people reach out to me, either friends or even strangers. I just tell them, connect them with the people I connected myself with, and just show them the process of what I did, just to keep it simple.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things I think that's important is about keep it simple. But the thing about the Black voice and the Black experience, as Black people, right, we can all agree that we're not a monolith, right? That all four of you are very different and have different perspectives of
Right.
life
Right.
and what informed why you wrote your book. So,
Right.
Jamie Keisha, can you talk to us a little bit about the uniqueness of the Black voice and how you feel like you can portray it through your work?
Okay, the uniqueness about the Black voice in this time is
Okay,
we
there we
are
go.
called to be blueprints.
Right.
That's why it's so difficult, because we literally, it has not been laid out for us. The reason it's unique is because it hasn't been done. It hasn't been done. We're literally looking for a thing that we're called to create. And so I feel like because we're called to create it, and like you said, we are literally in history. We are literally creating history for the generations to come, which means if we don't do it, what will they have to look forward to? Who's going to be there? And that, to me, that alone is unique enough. It's unique enough to know that not only are you needed for your time, but a time to come. So when you understand what you're producing is not even for the audience that you see now, but for a generation that ain't even been birthed yet, how is that not unique?
Right.
So I just feel like, which is another reason why, doubt tries to come, fear tries to come, hindrances, setbacks, because it doesn't want you to produce what the next generation needs. So I just feel like, me personally, I know, just like on the flip side, like my influence is great, my voice is great, so I can't afford to not say anything. I cannot afford to not reproduce myself in another. It would do me no good to store it up, leave it here, die with it.
Right.
It would just do no good. And so for me, I feel like, again, the uniqueness and the just the individuality that we all have is needed not only for our time, but a time to come. And if we could just keep that in mind, it'll be worth
Yeah.
all the rejection, all the whatever it is that we're experiencing. That's brick wall, brick wall, brick wall. When you keep that generation in mind, I'd like to say we're like impregnated with the generation. If you keep that generation in mind and understand they have not been birthed yet, but they coming, it'll make you push past all this other stuff. I don't care how many Black authors are out, it ain't us. And when you understand that you're assigned to a people, the people can only come when I come.
There you go.
So how long do I wait?
If not you, then who?
Then if not me, then
Right?
who?
Come on,
Right,
bro.
that's awesome. And one of the things that you brought up was in this moment. You were
right
very
now,
clear
in
about
this
that.
time. It's important to know the times.
So KB, I'm going to pass it to you because one of the things that you talked about earlier in your introduction is really about how Black people can be their whole self,
Absolutely.
right? And how they bring that to literary art and
Right.
whatnot. So can you expound a little bit about what in this moment, especially when we're facing this uprising in our country, we're facing all these different things going on amongst Black people and
Yes.
against Black people.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. It's what JK said. Okay, in this moment to me means as I'm living and breathing.
Mhm.
While I yet still have air in my lungs, it's my responsibility to do something.
Mhm.
Dr. Miles Monroe said the richest place in the world is in the cemetery because dreams, goals, and ideas have died with people. The cure for cancer is in the ground. The cure for world hunger, money problems, everything that people have not accessed or opened up themselves to be accessible to is dead.
Right.
So he also said books that have yet to been written is in the ground. So I'm thinking, okay, if it's my responsibility while I'm yet living and breathing in this moment to publish something and put something out that'll be generations to come that can read, because I'm still taking them same lessons we're learning from history. We're still reading books from 30, 40, 50 years ago. Those authors are gone, but we're still reading their material. So
Correct.
why is it not our responsibility to put something out now?
Yes.
That way, generations later, if we're birthing them,
Mhm.
eventually when I'm dead and gone 100 years later, somebody needs to be able to pick up my book and says, this helped me.
Yes.
Right.
This changed my life.
Right.
And this is how you help push forward the agenda of Black people and get us out of that oppression. It's the example for me. So if I had the opportunity to do something phenomenal, but I sat on it to the point to where it just went to a waste, not only did I waste my purpose, but somebody who was looking at me to be the example to help unlock their purpose didn't
Right.
do it. And the families that they're going to raise and bring on, and the children and the generation after that. Well, Daddy didn't go after his dreams because KB didn't go after his, which would have inspired him to do that, raise his family a certain way, have his children come up, and then keep going throughout the motions. I don't understand why, for the life of me, we're so afraid as black people sometimes. We're so afraid to literally actually go forward and do it. My motto from the beginning of this year, and I said, I put on my social media, you can go look at it. It is stay focused and execute. I put that on January 1st, not knowing what this year was going to be like.
Right.
I said, stay focused and execute because
Wow.
I knew people want to take the 2020 vision and make it seem like it was going to be this great, phenomenal thing. And it wasn't even 60 days into the new year where we got slapped in the back of the head, and it's been hell ever since. So why is it that we can't ever keep our vision the way we're supposed to and then execute it fully? I don't understand that portion, but my responsibility is I'm going to see it, I'm going to say it, and I'm also going to do it.
Right.
Because what you ain't going to say is he ain't do nothing.
Right.
Okay.
Amen. I think that's powerful, and I think one of the things that's really important about what you really bring up is for our people is that we have a calling, right? Like to
Right.
what you said, JK, is that we are still living history, right?
Right.
That even our parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and people that we all admire and respect, but even in our generation, right, we're still making history. And so I want to move to another point around Black excellence. And we hear it right across the country, Black excellence, Black girl magic,
Yeah.
Black boy joy. I mean, we've heard
Right.
different iterations of what it is. And so, I believe that you all personify that, and you are doing that through your literary work. And so I'm just going to slide on this way down because I want to hear from all of you what it means to you, right? And so, Antoine, if you want to kick us off, what does Black excellence mean to you?
Oh, Black excellence, man. To make it simple, I feel like it's whenever you living in your purpose the best way you can. We get caught up with thinking that you need to be a performer, an athlete. I mean, even a doctor, whatever else. Whatever you focus on and see as success for yourself, and you represent your family to the highest level, and represent yourself, I feel like that's Black excellence.
Yes.
JK, what about you?
Black excellence. Okay. For one, to excel. To excel. Let's just make it plain. To excel and to excel as a person of color. Now, whatever that acceleration looks like to you, so be it. But because you're asking for my perspective,
Yes.
success to me, just success to me, for one, is staying in the will of God. Whatever He showed you, whatever He told you, whatever He produced in you, when you manifest that thing and you are doing it like He said to your greatest ability, you've succeeded. And for, like he said in his previous things, so many of our ancestors in history did not complete, did not finish it. So literally, to complete the manifestation of the seed that God put in you and excel at it, and to be a person of color. And we already know the strongholds that be on us, us just already being behind. To excel in a world that was already placed to be against you is amazing. And we're doing it. And it may not be as smooth as what people think. It may not be as pretty as they put it, but we're doing it. So Black excellence to me is literally excelling in whatever it is you're called to do and be in the skin that we were given, which is fully melanated. And I'm here for it.
Melanin magic is another one.
Melanated.
Melanin
Yeah.
magic. Sometimes, you hear melanin magic too.
Yes.
Yaladria, Black excellence, right? New author, like all the accomplishments you've made. What does that mean to you?
Man, so Black excellence to me is really the space, knowing that there's enough. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of times we had this crab in the bucket mentality based on the Jim Crow situation that has already placed us back, right?
Yes.
So now knowing that there's enough space for you and me to all be authors in the same space and still
Yes.
eat, if all of us are eating, that's Black excellence. It's
Yes.
not enough for just me
I got
to eat.
tough on that one.
You know what I mean? Because if I'm eating and you're not eating, then I'm hurting. That's crazy to me. But
Right.
but we were the only race that was pitted against each other. We were the only race that felt like we needed to compete. We don't have anybody to compete with. We are the standard. And so for me,
Okay.
you know, I think that just being black is excellent anyway.
Okay.
Who wouldn't want to be, but
Let's
also
be
on
clear.
top of that, I think that just making sure that we erase that crab in the bucket mentality, we reach out to others, we assume the responsibility, like you're saying, to make sure that we're bringing up other authors or bringing up other leaders and bringing up other people in the space. I feel like my life's work is not good enough just because my kids are going to get to succeed and eat off of my fruits, right? I want everybody around me, because if I haven't reached multiple people and I haven't excelled black people as a whole, then I haven't been excellent. So black excellence is uplifting everybody around me, making sure that money, space, opportunity, access is there for everybody. And at that point, then I'll feel excellent. Until then, I'm not satisfied. So
Okay. Well,
Can we?
and one of the things I think that's important too, right, about black excellence is that you're always still striving, right? Like
Yes.
you said, JK, is to excel.
ongoing.
But excel doesn't mean I wrote one book and I'm done.
And I'm done.
It doesn't mean I got this degree and I'm done, or I made this threshold of money, right, and I'm done. It's like continuing to grow and to also build the people around you
Right.
and take that responsibility. So KB, you know, let's get to you.
They said-
You probably already said it,
I said it all.
You still got something in
but I've
there.
noticed something sitting in your spirit that's gonna come out.
what they said,
This is a combination of everything they said. But, for me, purposefully, that it's just all about purpose, and it's literally about reaching back and pulling other people forward. Like, it's okay to have those accoutrements here, but if you're not doing anything with helping your fellow brother or sister or whatever reach back where they may not have access to it, then it's a waste, and then you're a waste, and you're wasting your time. Our purpose in life is to serve.
Yes.
Think about it. Everything you do in life requires somebody to service you. Whether you go get gas, whether you go to Chick-fil-A, whether you go buy clothes, whether you get your hair and makeup done, somebody had to do something to help you.
Yes.
There's nothing
Right.
literally you can do by yourself. So don't think that I'm going to make all of this success and these achievements and then have nothing else to do, because you got the little black brother, little black sister in the hood looking like, okay, well, who will come get me?
Come on.
I'm not there yet. I can't get that access. So if we're not reaching back and pulling forward, then you're wasting your black excellence. You can excel all of you want to, but it's going to be a waste if you're not reaching back and pulling people forward. So
Right.
really, it's a responsibility, it's your purpose, but also it's your sense of authority. Meaning understand who you are as a black man, or a black person, or a black woman, and where you belong in this world, and where the possibility you can go, which is pretty much everywhere, and it's pretty much endless. Other little examples who are looking at us and watching this, and are going to look at this 3-4 years from now when they YouTube this or Google it or whatever, they need to see all of this black excellence in here. From the lights to the camera, to the sound, to the stage, to the people that built this studio, to the people that
Absolutely.
designed our clothes, to the people that wrote our books, serviced our cars, everything is black excellence.
Yeah.
So if you're not operating on that type of level, it ain't excellent.
Come
Yeah,
on, somebody.
yeah.
That was good.
That was wonderful.
That was each other.
He didn't have nothing left.
You didn't have anything to say. See, we just knew. I knew you just had something sitting in there for us. Something sitting in there.
It was in his
So
belly.
one of the things I think that all of you named is like the challenges of helping lift other people up. And I know earlier we talked about how have you mentored, but I want to dig a little bit deeper into what challenges did you all overcome? Because I am sure that people that are watching us this evening are thinking, I want to sit up there too. I want to be like them. I want to be in the presence of this black excellence, right? And I want to be black excellence, right? And I want to represent that. Yaladra, I'm going to pass it to you. What are some challenges you face that you feel that other people may be facing, and how did you overcome them to get to this place, right, where you're saying not that I'm just okay with the standards, I am the standard,
Yes.
right? So what is that journey?
So I have to say a lot of things were inner self issues. You know, like I dealt with a lot of self-doubt, lack of self-worth from not being expressed what real love looks like in my life from a young age. I didn't have that type of, family that would talk about like, expressing love or even saying the words I love you, like to make you feel like, you're wanted. So for a long time, I was just excelling and reaching little landmarks. I graduated high school in 3 years, graduated undergrad in 3 years, graduated law school in 3 years, failed the bar exam 3 times, right? There was no success there, right? So I get to the peak of what's supposed to be great and I'm still a failure. I felt like I had done nothing.
Wow.
So even though, I was 24 years old and I graduated law school and that looked great for others. To me, I felt like I had done absolutely nothing, right? And so those are even just like accolade type of like failures. But in life, as a mother, I felt like I was not doing my kids, I wasn't doing them a service. Like I wasn't doing my best. I felt like I failed them all the time because I wasn't maybe not giving enough time, or just even in writing this book, when I decided like, oh, I'm gonna take a weekend to write some chapters, I felt terrible about it. You know, being a mother, being, you know, a wife, okay, that's a whole nother situation. You know, that's a struggle in itself. But just period, like there's so many things in different levels of my life that I feel like I experienced hardship, and the reason why I'm not really expressing too much is because my whole book is about it, so we're gonna let y'all get that. But, you know,
Just give us a preview,
you know,
then. Give us a preview.
But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, these things are what lead you to who you are, you know, so you never ever like, you don't be mad about it. You're just like, man, I'm grateful that I got through it and I'm here. So I think that, you know, the hardships, and I probably am so far off from the question at this point, blame my ADHD. But this is what I feel like I'm going to talk about right now. But basically, I did go through a lot of things in my life, so everything is not always great. You might look good on paper, but behind that paper, I'm certain there's a lot of like flaws behind everybody, and we don't share that too often. And that's also that whole, you know, what happens in this house stays in this house mentality. And I lived by that for so long, and it held me back. And the moment that I was like, I'm not gonna do that anymore, I flourished. I realized like, oh, I don't really need the bar exam because I never wanted to be an actual practicing attorney. So, you know, here I sit, you know, reaching levels of money that, you know, half of them don't reach on that level because I said I don't have to do what I'm supposed to do. You know, we always keep being told that we're supposed to do, and then that's where, you know, you end up. So that was way off. I really don't remember the question at this point. So we're gonna pass it to the next.
But that's the beauty that's the beauty of life, y'all. Right? Is that we think that we're gonna do this thing. We think that we're gonna do this thing, and it's gonna be straight and narrow. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take this step, and life is just like this, and takes you up and down and all around, and you just don't know. Because I think that we look at our people's accolades, right? And we're like, they're black excellence, they're successful, and you don't know the journey.
Correct.
Right? And so, you know, people say the saying all the time, you see the glory, but you don't know the story, right?
Exactly.
And there's a story behind, I know, each and every one of you, so I'm going to pass it to Antoine, right, to talk. What are some challenges either that you faced and overcome, or that, you know, you may be able to share with the folks watching us tonight?
Man, I'm gonna start early on in my life. Like I said, I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. Anybody who even passed through Jacksonville know what it's about out there. Real cliche upbringing, man. The whole living in apartments, living in the hood. Whole reason we moved to Texas was because we was trying to escape poverty. So that's something that we had to overcome early on. Got seen so many obstacles, so much adversity at a young age. I kind of taught myself not to get my hopes up about things and just to go through life with whatever attitude, and if it happens, it happens. Even making it through school, making it to college, making it to professional sports, excuse me. It really was whatever to me. Like I didn't really harp on it too much, but as I got a little older, I taught myself to always get my hopes up about everything, to be optimistic about every endeavor that I approach, because, you know, just doing that is gonna show other people that a lot of things could be attainable. I have people that hit me up all the time, and it's kind of like, I tend to discredit myself a lot because, like I said, I never really cared too much about things throughout life, but it's like I accomplished a lot of things, but it's still a lot of more things to accomplish. But a lot of people, they hit me up and be like, oh, well, you motivated me to do this, you motivated me to do this. I love the type of person you are, the type of father you are, and it kind of gives me a little bit more reassurances in myself just to keep going. So, you know, adversity ain't a thing, man. It ain't nothing.
That's right.
Well, and the thing is that's important about adversity, everybody's been through something.
Correct.
I mean, you can't, you know, you go to Barack Obama, right? You go to all these folks, right? Everybody's been through something.
Correct.
Whether you choose to share it is another question, right? And so, JK, you know, can you talk to us a little bit? What challenges you face? What have you overcome that you're willing to share with the good folks?
Y'all got
watching?
time?
Time check.
Yeah, got time. I have overcome a lot. If I just start at just my breaking down boiling point, I lost my father. So that was just kind of like, who am I? Like, what does a girl do without a dad? You know? And from then on, it was just like, challenge after challenge after challenge. I suffered a lot with comparison. I suffered a lot with who I wanted to be and maintain versus who I needed to become, because I could not see that version of me. Everybody always like, you got to see it to believe it. I'm like, well, I don't see it, because in my mind, coming from our background, my bloodline, my lineage is hood. Nobody owns nothing. Nobody does anything. And the little things y'all do accomplish, I do come from a family where nobody has never done anything educational wise. So when you do, that's what they praised. But I'm not that. I'm art, I'm dance, I'm that. And I like barely, if it wasn't for dance, I wouldn't have made it out of high school. I literally passed just enough to get up out that mug. But, and even that, I'm just like, I don't have the academics. I never went to college. I was at every party, but never went to college myself. So it was just like being, oh, thank you, Lord. It's like being the black sheep, but still being called. It's like, okay, I fit in over here, but I know that this is not who I'm supposed to be. But then when I go over here, like she said, to where we're supposed to be, and it's like, I'm not that either. Right. So when you, like, what does a trailblazer do in a generation that keeps wanting you to blend? And so the things that I face is, like today, it's like, oh, she too loud, or she a little too hood. Then you go to church and it's like, okay, you're not churchy enough. And then you get to the streets, and the streets like, okay, you're too churchy. So it's like, okay, then what is it? And like I said at the beginning of the conversation, it's a blueprint. Y'all ain't seen this before. Right. You can get God and get street. If somebody got to do it, somebody has to. So at the
somebody got to blaze the trail.
Right. So at the end of the day, I feel like although I faced a lot, by the grace of God, it wasn't enough to stop me, because I know that somebody somewhere may or may not have went through these same things and did not make it out. They did not make it through. They did not, like, even when to me, I always say, you ain't lived life till you ain't want to live no more. I feel like until you hit that, not saying that you want to go through life with a suicidal period, because I'm not condoning it.
Yes,
but I just feel like that's when you really know.
Yeah.
And if you can overcome that, this stuff is nothing. Right. Until I got to the point where I'm like, you know what, I don't want to be here no more. World will be better without me. Ain't nobody gonna miss me. It ain't gonna be this, which is a total lie from hell. Let's be clear. Let's kill a devil. It's a total lie from hell. But until you get to that point, and you have to see that for yourself, you're okay. You begin to become okay with the challenges, with the advantages, because I see why you're trying to take me out. I see why you're trying to take me out. So until you start viewing your advantages as really platforms for God to perform in your life, you're gonna always be stuck. But I don't receive that for none of y'all or nobody watching. Yeah. So I just feel like all of our challenges, including myself, have put us in position to be the best version of ourselves. Because how would we know what's the best if we went down there first? So
that's powerful.
Before you go to KB, I wanted to say, so she mentioned comparison and how she was looking at other people. So this is being real candid, okay? So I've been following her Instagram for a very long time. Okay, so I've watched when this happened. And I'm sitting back, like, you know, I'm watching her flourish to me in my eyes, and I'm like, bro, this girl getting real. Like this girl's like making this, you know, and I done went through law squad and did all this stuff, and I'm like, I ain't got nothing. You know, like I'm not doing anything, and I'm looking like, so while you thought you were comparing to somebody else, I'm looking at you like, but she's the gym. Like, you know, I want to be like her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be confident like that, or I want to, you know, build something of my own. Like, dang man, I went through school and all that, and this girl really getting money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking this is a waste. You know, I could have been her. You know, so while you're watching somebody else. Somebody's watching you. So where you might think that was somebody else was what you wanted to be, you know, I'm looking at you like, shoot, she's where I'm trying to get. Right. So everybody has somebody that they compare to, and that is something, it was just when you said that, I'm thinking like, you know, I probably came off stalkers that you didn't know I was watching you like that, you know what I'm saying? But in reality, you know, it's people who really are watching you like that, and you don't notice, like, you were inspiring me while you might have been low. You know, you were inspiring me to be like, you know, entrepreneurship probably is something that we can do as Black people. I didn't see that, you know, at first. I just thought, you know, I'm the only person who's ever been this high up in school in my family, so that was great. But then even when I realized that even being at the highest in my family, I still wasn't good enough for them. Like, they still thought that wasn't enough, and I'm like, Well, shoot, everybody else who out here living, you and everybody else, I'm like, man, so just know that when you think that you're low, somebody was watching. Because I know I was, so that's just me being.
Yeah.
I want to say one more thing.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Go
One more
ahead.
thing.
That's all right.
You said something, and I gotta say it because I'm just like, Unlike most people who get to pull back, challenge, be developed, and then come out and share. That's not my story. And I have to say it because she brought it up, is the Lord literally made me be transparent with my entire walk. So I don't think people can say, you can't say you didn't see it. You can't say you didn't see it because he did not allow me to go back, transform, be renewed, be restored, then come out and be like, hey y'all, new me, who this? It's like, no, y'all literally watched it. So to add on to what you said, some of the challenges that I faced was my story constantly being open. I used to be like, I literally would do lives and I'd be crying and I'd be like, why you come on here and make me cry in front of these people? He was like, this is what we need to see. Not somebody doing it, come back and talking about it. We need to see it while it's happening because I'm not about to let you do nothing nobody did. You don't get to hide.
Right.
You don't get to be in the back. You don't get to do that. So for her to say that she was watching it and then it helped her, I'm just like, okay, Lord, make it make sense. Somebody, okay, so somebody was, okay, hallelujah.
I think what's important, 2 points that y'all brought up in this conversation is one, you never know who's watching.
Correct.
And that's true. You just never know, right?
Yeah.
Because it happens. Probably at some point happened to all of you. I hope
Yeah.
so. That someone hit you up on Facebook or Instagram or email or whatever and said, "Man, your story is like mine," or "Oh, I didn't know you went through that," or what have you. And it happens to me in my political life. I work in politics. I haven't written my book yet, but
it's coming.
I'm speaking into existence, right? But people come to me all the time and I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could reach those heights and those sorts of things. Right. And then 2, I think there's the transparency in the testimony and how it shows up for you all. Because one of the things I think that's important, when people are looking, there are tons of books that people can buy, right?
Right.
We could walk into Barnes & Noble when we walk out of here and go find thousands of books to read. But what's going to make your book special, and those of you who are watching, is what's the transparency and the testimony that can be a blessing, that could be a seed to, because you never know. You never know what, if somebody picked up your book, you don't know what people are going through in the moment they're reading, right? And so I think when you're talking about not being able to hide and come back, it's your transparency that's going to maybe get somebody through something.
Come on.
And so I think that's the reality. So I know KB's going to give us another word,
but I'm ready.
But we want to make sure you get in on this too, right? Just a nugget for the people who watch.
We're talking about things we've been through.
Yes, challenges you've overcome. Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I heard here is, and I got a quote I said a long time ago, but it's comparison kills your completion. Because if you
Can we get that?
Wait a minute, write that down. Comparison kills your completion. We need to write it. So write that down. Go ahead, brother.
You'll find yourself looking at somebody else's journey saying, wow, that's incredible. I can't wait. I want to do this. I want to do that. But what also I've learned through my journey is that what I survive might kill you. You can't literally think that you can walk every single footstep and go through the things that I survived. I survived them for a reason. And that's because I'm going to take the lesson.
Okay, I'm about to start shouting.
So you can sidestep, or you can step over, or you can avoid that issue that we've had to deal with personally. So, like, for JK, I don't know what it's like to have a loss of father, but she's not the only person in the world that has.
Right.
But because she was vocal about her story, not every little girl who either didn't grow up with one, because I heard you say, what does a girl do without a dad?
Right.
Well, think about the girls who never had one.
Yes.
Who didn't know them.
Do what they do.
Right.
Because they still made their journeys. That's that connection. And so no longer is a comparison, it's a completion. Like, dang, I relate to your story. I understand what you're saying. I feel what you're going through. And that makes me make sense to help me get through my journey of life. I read Anton's story. $25 at Applebee's you had to pay, or you make the tips to go pay for the camp that got you noticed, that got you into the NFL. Can you imagine how many people right now, young football players, are saying who got the talent? It's not that you didn't have the skill. You did. It's not that your destiny wasn't going to make it to the NFL. You were. It just took you a different way.
Come
Waiting
on.
tables to playing in the NFL. How many other stories are out there like that where young guys who are gifted and talented have the ability to make it are thinking, how do I get that? And because of the opportunity you took, you found a different way, you told your story and your journey, somebody gave you an opportunity because there was a scout that saw you that got you connected to the right team that allowed you to go out and try it, and next thing you know, you suiting up on game day. Like, that's phenomenal information. So for people who are out there that's
Come
listening
on.
to these things, you have to understand your comparison to what everybody else has done and how they're living their life and things like that is not your journey.
Yeah.
It may seem similar. It may seem like you have some things in common, but I guarantee you, because God will probably take you and flip you 10 steps ahead of what we had to deal with just because you listen to us and it's like, okay, let me not make the same mistakes.
Correct.
Let me not do this. Let me hear what their story is so I can kind of plan my steps accordingly. Now, that's not to say you're not going to have no hardship.
Correct.
It's coming, but that's going to make you tough.
For sure.
And it's going to knock you down, but if you can look up, then you can get up. Like, it's as simple as that. You can make it to the next time. So, adversity from there. But then the second thing that my journey personally for me, outside of everything else, was my consistency and how much I lacked it. That's like my kryptonite. I am, majority of the time, most people are this, but I am always consistently inconsistent when it comes to making progress. That's always been that way.
I
But-
literally wrote that in my book.
But it's been my kryptonite, but at the same time it's been my help because now I know what my problem areas are. It's like, okay, if I want to get this completed, I need to make sure I stay consistent in doing this until it's done. That goes back to my first quarter, beginning of the year. Stay focused and execute. Execution is the most important thing you can do. It's not enough to say you want to do something. It's not enough to say, I want to write a book, I want to go here, I want to make this happen. Until you physically see yourself doing it and actually making it happen in reality, you'll never get it done. So you have to be consistently consistent and not inconsistent because that'll just kill all your dreams.
Yeah, because I think it's not just the testimony, it's how you live it, right? And what you learn from
Yeah,
it,
it's the
right?
journey.
And what you take, and
Yeah.
not letting it take you out. Because a lot of things that y'all shared here today could just taking you out. You
tried.
wouldn't even be here right now to share even your story with folks
Right.
that are watching. And so just a couple things as I know we're wrapping up. We thank y'all so much for joining and listening to these amazing Black excellent authors for all of you. But, you know, Antoine, I'm going to pass the last question to you is really around entrepreneurship and ownership. And that's one of the things that it's kind of come up, but not explicitly in our conversation is because when you write a book, you are building a brand, right? And it's not just your name, it's your brand and what you want to be known for and what you want to be known as. And so how can folks that are watching or just even how have you helped to change the narrative around Black entrepreneurship, ownership, marketing, etc.?
Man, just to kind of touch on what Jamie Keisha said as far as her lineage, my family's kind of the same way. A lot of people didn't go to, upper level school. Not too much ownership, not too many owning their own car, not too many owning their own home. So when I got to a point in life where, I didn't fear failure. It was just like, bro, whatever I think in my head, I'm gonna plan it out. I'm gonna find a way to execute it like KB said. So as far as entrepreneurship, whatever idea I have, I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah.
People think about success so much and they harp on success so much because failure, that's an automatic thing.
Right.
When you go into something, you automatically expect to fail. Not only, depending on how many, you're gonna succeed as well, but how many failures will you have before you reach success and the one thing you're trying to accomplish? So the biggest advice I'm gonna give is don't be afraid of failure.
Don't be afraid of failure.
Yeah.
That's powerful. And Yeladra, you talked about going to law school and not, passing the bar exam, right? And the journey that you've taken to write your book, I know that you also have your business that you just started recently in politics, right? And so we want to, make sure we're lifting up the work that y'all are doing, right? Talk to me about the importance of that, especially like that's how we met,
Yes.
right? Is that we both worked in politics and decided that after working for everybody, that we would go and do our own thing. And so talk about that Black entrepreneurship. How are we changing the narrative? How are you changing the narrative?
So first, you touched on people were giving you the chance to be in the space. So, Jamar may or may not know, but during the time when I was at a low point, he gave me a job, to come work on a presidential campaign, and he became my boss. But he taught me a lot about like leadership, but then also stepping out and doing something on your own that's going to be impactful on others. So what I noticed in the space, so I own Capital Strategies, is a compliance firm. So in politics, compliance is a niche that there are no minorities in. There's none. There's literally 4 companies that are maximizing on money, okay, that is out there, and they get paid heavily on something that is something every campaign has to have. So you have a lot of black candidates that can't afford them. So they're just kind of left by the wayside. So for me, it was like, oh, okay, well, I've done compliance in my past. I can go help others. And not only that, I'm going to help my people. And I'm going to do it at a rate that they can afford, and also work with them to make it accessible if they can. There's been some, I'm not making a ton of money off of it, but I'm helping others, because the more black faces we have in politics and the more black faces that we have representing us, then the things like we're happening today, where we're seeing, our black men and our black women being executed, those things can change if we bring people into those spaces. So how am I going to help? It's not about the money. It's about putting those people in place. So that's that business. And then, of course, the Inca, which is, why we're here, trying to make sure that everybody is, uplifting other authors, other journalists, people who want to blog, people who want to do anything literary. That's a big deal, because we do need to tap into the arts. We have a lot to say. You don't have to close your mouth anymore. You don't have to hide behind it, because mental health is really a big deal. And I think that is why a lot of our stories stem from mental health issues or things that happen in our families that we don't think we can share, and so we don't think that that's appropriate. So I want people to understand you do have the space to do it. You can go ahead and talk about it, and nobody is going to come pop you about it anymore. We passed them days, right? We out of that. Slavery was abolished 400 plus years ago. I'm past that. So those are my businesses. Those are things that I want to do, and keep reaching out to make sure there are other people who move into entrepreneurship, because there is nothing like having something of your own. When you work for others, been there, done that. And you clock in, you clock out, and just like as fast as that check hits, it's gone. But at least if you're working, my husband always says, if you're working past working hours on a business that is not your own, you're wasting your time. And he won't even allow it. Like, if I go get a job right now, and he's like, it's 5 o'clock. Is that your business or is it their business? I was like, oh, it's still their work. He like, shut it down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna make somebody else money on free time. Like, that's just not gonna happen. So if it's not your pocket that you're feeding, it needs to be shut down. So owning your own is really important. And I'm gonna stop. And we're gonna go to KB.
Yeah, we are going to go to KB. Yeah, let's talk
My
about
bad.
Black entrepreneurship, ownership, and how are we continuing to change the narrative.
I didn't see enough of it growing up, so I realized, okay, why not? Why don't we have enough? So why not take that chance and make it happen? I've had about 15 and 16 jobs between our age of 15 and 19 before I joined the Air Force. So I've worked my butt off for other people, and I understand the value of $1. That's not to say come fresh out of school and be an entrepreneur. Like, no, understand the value of $1, understand how businesses work, things like that. But when I realized I didn't want to work for anybody else, and I had more freedom and actually creativity-wise, and not having to follow somebody else's blueprint and their master plan and being great, I was like, I can do this for myself. So I saw entrepreneurship as an avenue not only to create generational wealth, which is very, very important these days. When you die, there shouldn't be like, how we gonna bury you? And then that'd be the extent of the money. Everybody done chipped in, and now we hope nobody else die for a while because we can't afford it. That should not be that way. It should be taken care of. When I die, my children's children,
Right.
everybody should be kosher. So thinking of it that way, and also thinking of it as creativity, what is it don't we have? Why do we not have this? So when I started my Little Better Foundation, I was like, I'm going to make this the Walmart of hope, because literally when you go to Walmart, you can get everything. They're pretty much everything. And they're making HEBs like that, they're making Kroger's like that. So it's like, why not have something to where black people can come and get all of the resources that they need, the information that they're not privileged to have in certain areas, the counseling, the speaking, you name it, everything that you can actually get from the Little Better Foundation in community organization and serving. That's exactly what I decided to create. And then it just opened up the doors for the other avenues and other business ventures. And I was like, this is how it's supposed to be. We are supposed to be able to own things 110% outright. Now, that does not mean we can't have investors. People want to help plug in things like that. I've had the Caucasian dollar.
I will take
The
that.
Caucasian
I will take that. I will take that.
We will take an investment.
They'll take an investment. As long as they get a return on their investment, they'll always do business with you. I have
That's
no
right.
problem.
This
So
is true.
understanding that value and then teaching that to our younger people. They need to know that, yeah, you can go get a degree in this and you may not ever get a job in what you got a degree in. But that doesn't mean that the door of purpose is closed for you as far as education or having a career. There's so many other avenues that you can have. So why not create them? Diddy does it. He has everything. You name it, from water to alcohol to clubs to consulting services. You name it, he's got his hand in everything. I'm looking like, why can't
Got an
black people
empire.
have that hand in
Got an
everything?
empire over there.
So we need to do that. He's given us the example. He's given us the blueprint. So why not follow it and create it in our own way? So that's all I've been about lately.
And I think that's important. I think that's important and making up the blueprint. You know, I think that theme has run,
It
throughout
has.
the course of this. And so we
Love that
want to
album.
have you help land the plane here
Come
and
on.
talking
And I
about
got something to say.
entrepreneurship and ownership.
Okay.
And how are we changing the narrative?
I'm a go for a little turn real quick, but it's okay, 'cause it's gonna
Okay.
make sense. I'm a believer, okay? So I do believe that anytime God wants something manifested in the earth, he needs a womb. He needs a womb here. That's us. The importance of entrepreneurship to me, being a believer, is I believe that every industry in this time will see God. So I understand the importance of entrepreneurship to me is to show my industry who he is, still being me, especially beauty. I'm in the beauty industry. I have a tagline, y'all know it, you're gonna get this light, because I literally believe we're called to light up everywhere. And being that we've never really seen it done, like he said, we've never really seen it done, didn't grow up seeing it. Not only do I want to say it can be done, but I want you to know it ain't got to be just you. I'm not the creator of my capacity. I'm not the creator of my ideas. I can't just think an idea. It has to be given from somewhere. And so I just want to make sure that anything that's been given to me that I produce in the earth, I go and reproduce it. So the importance of entrepreneurship is to see, and I'm going to speak to this time, is to see it be done in the earth, because it's already been manifested, in the heavens. So we're literally only putting out what was already, and then let's just go back just a little bit. We're literally producing what the generations before us did not. So the importance of it, because like he said, we have to leave something here for the people to come. Again, it's not just us, and it's not just our kids or what we can tangibly see. It's literally birthing something out for a time to come. And I just really believe, just in black, I just really believe, this is just me, my core belief is we will have our own libraries, we will have our own hospitals, we will have our own schools, we will have, even if I don't see it, I know it's in somebody's belly. I know somebody carrying it. And then what you don't have, I got. What she don't have, he has. And when we all come together collectively in unity and harmony and oneness, it's going to get done. So the importance of it is to create it. Let it be on a solid foundation. So literally the generations to come, it cannot fall. That's that.
That's awesome.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Man, I know we finna wrap it up, but I just want to end with saying, of course, I'm happy to meet everyone here. I'm proud of you. You guys are accomplishments. You're a perfect example of black excellence. But on a more personal note, a lot of y'all don't know me and Jamie Keisha went to high school together.
We did.
That's awesome.
So, I was able to see her growth from,
That's
super
powerful.
talented high schooler, to walking in her purpose now. And I just want to let you know I'm super proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
Bless
Y'all know he mean. So this coming from him is a big deal, y'all.
Nah, but
No, just
I'm super proud of you. A lot of times we don't give people their flowers while they still alive. Somebody died, and you see all these thousands of people riding on the hill. Oh, I love you, dog. I miss you.
Give it to while they're
But,
here.
you don't even call me to check on me. Woo, woo. But I just want to let you know I'm proud of you.
thank you.
Keep motivating
Give me
us
a
all.
hug.
Keep motivating us all. And man, man. Just keep doing it for the most. Keep
Yes,
doing it for the most.
surely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We
That-
go deep
that's-
into
No,
that.
that's what I'm
You
saying.
know what I'm saying?
What's happening?
thing here. But one of the things I think is very powerful, and I'm getting to know all of you, right? And Eladria and I've known each other, and you all are getting to know each other. And I know that folks have followed each other maybe on social media,
Yes.
emailed, we've been on calls together,
Yes.
and being able to do that. And so it's great to be able to see that journey,
Yes.
in that friendship, and to see your journey, Eladria, I think has been awesome. And so as we wrap up, we want to just let folks who are watching know, how can they stay in touch with you?
Yes.
What are you working on that maybe they can get involved with or supporting? We're gonna have to keep it brief. Everybody.
Social handle.
Because y'all so amazing, all this
Right.
black excellence.
There's so much.
We'll have another
So
show
much.
just for the black
Right,
excellence. So
right.
I'm gonna go to my left this time. So Antoine, we're gonna start with you. How can people stay in touch with you? Any brief things you're working on?
Man, you could my Twitter and Instagram handle is ZillaMain41. I'm working on a lot of things, man. I'm working on getting my second children's book out for my series, for my Little Zilla series. Also a cookbook.
Okay.
We do cook a little one.
You know, I moonlight as a little
Okay.
little chef. Also I got like a car restoration company. So after I
That's
leave
awesome.
here, I'm gonna go get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
and the clothing line, freezerapparel.com. So that's about it for right now.
Okay, so you're gonna lead the food tasting when COVID is over.
Okay, we'll be there.
Pull up on me.
We will be there. Black people like to eat.
Yeah,
So,
real
we will be there. We will be
Right.
there. That's awesome. Good job, brother. Thank you.
That food.
JK,
Okay, so-
how can they follow you?
Okay, so my personal Instagram is JK_the truth, TheTruth. My business page on Facebook and Instagram is HM The Brand LLC, which is of course my beauty company. We have all things beauty, from wigs, lashes, hair product collection, all that good for men and women, shampoo and conditioner. Come on. Not race bias, not gender bias.
Not gender-
Okay,
that's
it's
all
for
right.
everybody.
Everybody need their hair washed.
And what I'm working on currently, www.hmthebrand.com.
There you go.
And what I'm working on now currently is just birthing my new business, LaFoe Enterprise, which that definition just means to set ablaze and ignite. And that'll just be just a coaching. I'm birthing a coaching and consulting business, teaching women or men in the beauty industry how to build your business from the ground up. All things needed, from taxes to licenses to just the structure, the core, payment systems, just all of that stuff. So I'm birthing that out right now, as well as courses, all things beauty, just how to run it, how to set it up, modules, and all that good stuff. So that'll be www.lafoeenterprise.com, LeFeuenterprise.
In other words, everybody.
Set ablaze. Okay, so you gonna get this light, and we gonna ignite and set ablaze. You have no choice but to be fiery.
That's right.
In other words, everybody, she's doing everything.
Everything. Why not?
Do it all. Great job. Awesome.
Why
That's awesome. Eladria, how can they stay in touch with you? What are brief things that you're working on?
So, seriously, all social media, I'm the only Eladria in the U.S., honestly. So if you just type in my name, you're going to find me. But my social handle is typically IM.Eladria_D. I have Capital Strategies, so that's capital.strategies. That's for my compliance firm, and then the Ink Up is on. You'll find me. But these are on IG. These are the handles. But there will be the.inkup. And that's what I have. Also, of course, my book is coming out. So, I do, catch it when it's out there. It'll be on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, I think Books A Million. I'm not 100% sure. We're going to get it there. But it'll be ready and released September 1st. Make sure you get that. If you want to reach me, you can reach me. Oh, I have way too many emails. We're going to go with this one. info@eladriadrummond.com. And, that's that. That's what I have.
Hashtag all the things.
That's
That's it.
basically everything.
KB, brother, how can they stay in touch with you? What are you working on?
Real simple. You can Google me at @real_KB.
Okay.
Now you didn't even have to go there.
Right.
Now wait a minute. Now
look.
I know this is the Ink Up and when Black Authors Inc., but you have to read the people.
Like you can Google me.
Oh man, yeah, you can literally Google @real_KB. You'll find me on all social media platforms. It's the same handle for all of that. My website, kbstratajr.com. You can sign up or link up with me there, email. You know, I do speaking, teaching, business consulting services, community stuff, and all of the business accolades that you'll see underneath there as well. We'll keep it simple. But my book, Be Selfish, This Art of Self-Care, A Simple Guide to Self-Care, it should be available by today.
Okay.
And everything attached to that, it'll probably be an ebook, and most likely you can also do the audio as well. So we're putting that together. That's coming out now. That's the newest book, and then I have other projects coming out later in the year. I have a relationship series coming out called A Real Man and a Real Woman. Those are for opposite sexes. So if you're a man, you read the one about the women. If you're a woman, you read the one about the man. And then we'll have one that's going to be together. We also have another book coming out called Dreams of Greatness. And that's about entrepreneurship. So if you ever want to get in touch with that and decide you want to go to entrepreneurship, that'll be on that as well. But like I said, you stay in touch with all my social media. We'll make sure we get you connected.
Awesome. Well, I just want to take the evening to thank each and every one of these authors. I mean, we talked about a lot. Your literary journeys. We talked about challenges, what you conquered. I'm not going to say overcome. Y'all conquered them.
Come on.
So that you all are sitting right where you are and educating and sharing with folks. And so you all, thank you so much for watching When Black Authors Inc. And we will have more conversations coming up. So make sure that you are following the Ink Up, the inkup.com. Make sure you're following the Ink Up online, on Facebook, everywhere you can. And we will be in touch with more updates and more events. And we just thank you and have a great evening. And make sure you stay in touch with these brilliant, brilliant authors. Thank you all for joining.